smile that makes the sun rise. You make it shine, but I can see that you don't realize, and that's what made me fall in love. 'Cause you got style, the way your body makes my heart beat sound. It's amazing all the time. You are the only thing I need in life.
Hi ladies, today we are starting on some spring home management. So some decluttering, some organizing, getting to the spaces that need our attention. So in this video, I'm gonna take you to 3 spaces. The first one right here is my mudroom, and I'll explain why in a second. Then we're gonna go and do our bookshelf and also a TV stand. Just the 3 areas that need my attention. So this particular one, as you can see, those jackets are kind of all over the place. This has been our problem area for quite a long time. So I did create this mudroom. We have hooks, we have bins, we have a bench where the idea was to put the backpacks that my kids, when they come from school, they put their backpacks over there, and it is not working. The jackets end up on those 2 chairs that you see over here. The book bags end up on the floor. And, sometimes I always have to ask myself, well, is this a problem because we are not dedicated enough to the solution? We just don't have good habits? Or is it because it is not easy enough to do what needs to be done? So in this case, that's what it is for us. It's just not easy to put the jackets in there because there's so many of them. Now, the next obvious thing could be, well, can we declutter? Do we need all of them? Well, we do. We do need a variety of jackets because of where we live. So even though it's winter, we need like a really heavy winter coat. We need a lighter jacket. We need a variety of different hoodies, and we just need it because of where we live. So less jackets was not a solution. So I needed to come up with something that made it easier for my kids to do the right thing, to put the things away where they belong. So I started thinking, what would make this space more functional? What would make it easier for us to put our jackets away? What would make it more intuitive? And that's when an idea came to me. Maybe I can put like a clothes rack in a bag over there where the hangers were at, and that will allow me to it would kind of almost look like an open closet, so everything would be on a hanger. That would, one, allow us to see all the jackets, all the outerwear hanging, so it's easier to find, and it's also easier to put away because we don't have to take off other jackets to get to the one we want. So that's the idea that I decided to try out, and this is my recommendation to any of you. If you are struggling with the space, it's not the obvious answer is not always, well, you need to declutter or you just need to develop better habits. Sometimes the space is just not functioning the way it needs to function for you. You really are trying to make things as easy as possible to keep the space organized. So that's what I'm trying, and this video was recorded a few weeks ago, and it has been working really, really great. The only thing, I think I will still give it a couple of weeks, but I think I might change the hangers to ones that are, I don't know what, they're just not plastic, they're just made out of the material, so it's easier for kids to hang their jackets, because one of the struggles they have right now, because of the material the jackets are made out of, the jackets are sliding off the hangers very easily. So when they're putting it away, sometimes they have to do it 3 times before it, actually stays on a hanger. So that's something we're still working out. But that's why I'm removing this bench from there. There is still some storage that we have. There's 2 bins with I think we have rollerblades in there and some toys for outside. So I wanted to make sure that they still fit in a bag, because that served as a really good storage for things we're not using that often. But I did want to work with the space that we have. I didn't want to spend too much of extra money. I didn't want to redo the whole mudroom. I just wanted to make this space more functional. And I thought, spring is coming. we're still gonna have probably another 2 months of this weather changing back and forth between very cold and almost like summertime. So we use the space a lot, obviously, so it makes sense for it to make it as easy as possible. So let me know in the comments if you have a space like that in your house where you're feel like you're constantly cleaning or constantly organizing and you just cannot kind of get on top of it for a long period of time. Let me know if you have it, and maybe we can brainstorm some solutions for you. Now, when I started hanging those jackets, I wanted to hang them in some sort of also a way that's functional, that makes sense for us. So while in my closet or even my kids' closet, we do like to color code, that did not make sense for this particular scenario because I wanted to group it or categorize it by person. So my kids have the bins on the bottom, like in that little bench. Each one of them has a bin, so I wanted to kind of make sure that their clothes are aligned with the bins as well. So my daughter's jackets went on the right side, my son's in the middle, and mine are all the way on the left. My husband doesn't really keep any of his clothes in this area. He keeps it in the closet that we have by the door. So that's why there is only three kinds of it. But it's just something that I feel like sometimes we get stuck on a particular word to organize, and that is driving our decision because it's visually more appealing. And I do it, like I said, in my closet. I like it visually to be by color, but I also organize it by the type of clothes and then by color. So but sometimes we just get stuck in a specific way and we are not looking at it how to make it actually function and work for us. So don't be afraid to kind of experiment with that, see what works, and just always think about how is that going to function. Would it be easier for my kids to find clothes when they are kind of color coded, or would it be easier for them to find their jacket when they know where their kind of section is at? Another thing you might have noticed, I was trying to figure out where to put snow pants. So originally I put them like in the actual hook that the original hooks were, but it was just kind of in a way. So I ended up putting them in the kids' bins. Again, function. What's gonna make it easier? And I also wanted to make sure we have space for that rack that we use for to dry clothes, usually like jackets during winter times. So when we're not using it, I can easily just store it away, and it's easy to take it out when we need it.
Why don't we say that it's too late for us now? Why do we stay when I blame you for the things that weigh me down? 'Cause in the echo of your silence, I only hear what's best for me. Yeah, in the echo of your silence, I'm thinking more of her.
And because I was already in this area, I decided to clean up the clutter or the extra things we had on the floor. So you use this fridge as kind of our, I don't know, the ring fridge. We have some other things in here as well, but majority of stuff you see is like extra things to keep the refrigerator that we have in the kitchen just more open with space, and we keep most of our drinks over here. And this is the idea that I had from the very beginning when I got this bench, is to have this bench to serve as, hey, I come back from school, I can put my backpack over there, put my jackets away, and move on with my day, so it's not all on the floor. The second problem area that I have in this mudroom are the shoes. Almost every time you see me recording here, I have a problem with shoes being all over the place. And this is especially the case in winter time. and I still don't have a good solution. So that's still work in progress. I have storage in that white cabinet, not a lot of it, but some. Then we have those plastic kind of shoe organizers. But when it comes to shoes during like winter, there's a lot of them that are just, boots. Or my kids have, rain boots for when they go play in the yard when it's very muddy. It's just a lot of shoes. So maybe one day I'll come up with something that actually works and has storage for everything. For now, I'm just happy that this corner is done and it's more organized. And now we're gonna move on to the bookshelf. It's not anything that needs a lot of attention, but as you can see on those, specifically those bottom two shelves, there were just books that are being, thrown in on the top of the books because there was no space. So I wanted to go through them to basically look through all of them and see if there's anything I wanted to get rid of, donate. The top shelves, the top 3 ones that I'm going through now, those are my books. That didn't take a lot of time because I did declutter it not that long ago. But the bottom ones, those are where my kids keep their books. So those are the ones that I really wanted to go through and donate anything that is just no longer age appropriate. So there is a lot of books that we have for like smaller kids, obviously when they were much younger. And that was the idea behind doing this process. So I kind of did it in two steps. One, I took them out and I went through them. So I wanted to make sure that anything that I wanted to keep, either because I thought it was a really good book, something we could go back to, or like a kind of like a keepsake. I had a couple of books like that, and then I let my kids go through to the rest of them, the ones that I was not sure. Those are the ones where they sat down and quickly went through it, and you're gonna see at the end they got rid of quite a bit of them. But I did want to go through it first to make sure that they are not telling me to declutter something that I thought they could still use down the line, or something I just wanted to keep forever.
I'm thinking more of her. She who wants to study your body, who gets the better version of you. I need the better truth. I need the better version of you. I need the better version of you.
And I'm really curious how you guys feel about books. Do you like the idea of having a lot of books in your home? Is it, some people like to have their own library. Is it more, kind of as an adult, you keep books that you're gonna, go back and read? Do you have kind of like different rule set for kids books versus adult books? I'm really curious how that is for you. I feel like I am starting a little library for my own books, especially books that I really, really love, or books that are more like personal development. So things I do go back to sometimes, because especially with personal development books, I feel like those are, I do highlight and I do, remember the main idea. But then there are some things I'm like, well, I kind of want to go back to some of those books and like refresh my memory of what method they used for this particular problem. So definitely I'm starting that. I think I showed it in one of my videos before. With kids books, I kind of feel like I have definitely a different rule set. If they want to keep something, I absolutely will keep it. But as you can see, the pile is pretty sizable. So our library collects donations for books, and they have like book sales. So that's what we're gonna do with those. Now, the rest of the books, this is when another kind of functionality versus look came into play. If you saw, or when I was showing you the before shot of the library, of the bookshelf, I'd also like to have them organized kind of by color. I think it's just a nice look, just personal preference. Now, it works really well with most of my books, as in like the books that are for adults. Besides the ones where it's like a series and you have, they are numbered 1 through whatever it is, then it makes more sense to put it by number. But for the kids' books, and I had them originally organized by color, but as I was and that's kind of when you can see me putting them in piles. But when I started putting them into the actual bookshelf, it started not making sense anymore for me, because some books are much thicker. There's just for kids books, there's so many different sizes, and also like the thickness of them. So when I was putting the very thin books in between the thick ones, you couldn't tell that there was something there. So that's why I kind of changed my strategy, and I decided to kind of put them by size, and the really really thin ones I put them completely, as you can see me putting them on the right side. So again, functionality versus the looks or versus some method that you used before and you liked and it just stopped making sense. Don't be afraid to try something new. You never know what you're gonna like, but you always ask yourself how is it gonna improve the way we use a particular space. How is that gonna function for me? Does it make sense for this particular set of items but not for this one? So I'm learning more and more about that as I organize and declutter my house.
You started a fire somewhere deep in my mind. See the barbed wire, the place is grown all wide. 'Cause I don't know if it'll be enough, or if they really care. There's a stairway down for the both of us, but let's not go there. You got me thinking, whoa.
And this is the final look. As you can see, a little color coded on the top where mines are at, and not so much on the bottom. And it's funny because I was recording and those books started falling, as you can see on the bottom, second to the bottom shelf. And I just need to buy like I don't know what it's called, a book stopper, something that I have on my other bookshelf, to kind of help keep the books in space, especially those thin ones, because I think that was the problem. And then I packed away all the ones we are gonna donate to the local library, so I can take that whenever we go to the library next time. I think that's a great program because those are all great books. My kids just outgrew them. And then we're gonna move on to the very last area in the house for the initiation of my spring cleaning, and that is the TV stand. As you can see, it's nothing that I see every day, so it's not like you cannot just, it doesn't bother me, but this is also a coffee table on the bottom. It's kind of nicely put away in some organizers or some bins, and I'm gonna tell you why that is in a second. But this just, those two shelves, it's just a lot of crafts. So when my kids are doing something, or my daughter is into making bracelets a lot now, or beads, so it's just kind of gets shoved in there. So I do have to go in there on a regular basis and declutter the space and organize it and move things that don't belong there to a playroom, and then just leave some items in there. So that's something I do on a regular basis. So I put everything on a coffee table, and then my kids were sitting on a couch and we were kind of going through this stuff. I was just asking if it's something to keep or something to donate. There was a lot of papers here, like different crafts or different pictures, drawings, things like that. So my daughter was going through a lot of those. And then the plastic bins on a coffee table, they had Valentine's Day cards that my daughter got in school. My son doesn't get them anymore because he's in middle school. But they also had things from Christmas. So the things that they have in their stockings, they put them in bins. And they kind of, whether they had candy, so there was still candy in there that they were kind of, every once in a while, they would take something and eat it. But I was like, guys, it's March. We need to, it's a little embarrassing. But again, it was nice to, put away under, in that lower shelf on the coffee table. So it was kind of out of sight, but that was definitely time to get on it.
You got me thinking, whoa. I don't know how
And as we're doing this spring cleaning or spring, really, I call it home management because I feel like that's really what it is. I don't have any, big spring cleanings that I do. I think the biggest thing I do is washing my windows, and I do like to kind of do a deep clean of my kitchen. Those are kind of my two big things for spring cleaning, plus, some yard work. But do you guys have a specific list of things that you clean or organize or kind of as part of your home management system that you do specifically during spring? Let me know, because I feel like in the past years I did do more of an actual spring cleaning. Now it's, I do kind of identify specific areas in my house that need my attention, and that's kind of how I decide what goes on that spring cleaning or spring home management list. The mudroom was definitely one that was more kind of specific to spring because I knew we're gonna be using that space a lot with a different variety of jackets that we needed to be wearing depending on the weather. But besides that, I think my area of concentration is definitely few spaces that I know just need my attention to make my house functional. So, springtime going into summer, definitely there are areas that I want to get more organized and more functional for us, just to make the house just run more smoothly. I think that's all that is about. But let me know how that looks like for you. And that will be it for this video. This is the last of this one I think from the floor was trash, so I needed to put that away. But this is the final look, much more organized, much less clutter in there. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next one. Thank you so much for watching.
Somehow in this small place, minds begin to shrink when everyone is too fake. Your hope eventually sinks, 'cause I don't